The lessons I've learned about nailing a brief is that there's no right way to nail a brief. We kind of almost joke in the office. A lot of some agencies, I shouldn't say a lot of agencies, other agencies sometimes trademark processes and branding processes, and it allows clients to buy into a certain way of thinking. I think it was Edward de Bono that said, walk to work a different way every day to kind of open your mind a little bit. And I think we try and kind of embrace that as a bit of a culture here. We have 5 internal brand values written down, one of which is chaos. And I think it sounds stupid, but I think there's just no right way to crack a brief. There's like we said before, there's head projects, there's heart projects. Sometimes a great idea can come from someone on the client services team. Sometimes a great idea can come from the receptionist. I think we try and be really open-minded in how we work on a brief. I think the acid test for us is that what doesn't happen at music very often is someone picks up a bunch of flyers at the weekend and comes in and says, look at this, isn't this an amazing design style? I really want to use this for the next project we do. We don't think like that. We don't think about style or execution at all immediately. All we're ever trying to think about is how would when we're kind of bouncing around initial ideas, we're working out how would that idea make the audience feel? And if it makes them feel something, is that right? That's how we're very, very audience-centric in how we look at our approach to briefs. A great idea can come about in many ways. For example, we've recently been commissioned to create a website, and funnily enough, you'd think that we might have lots of reference of other websites on the wall. We might just start designing it. Strangely, our route into this was to get our copywriter to start to write about how that person, how that organisation might position themselves, or how they might talk to the world. And through how we decided they should talk, that led the visual. We like to try and kind of think about a kind of a tone or a feel, or we sometimes call it creative territories, which kind of might sound a little bit odd, but we try and put our thinking in a bit of a place before it becomes visual. So, is this about being quite strong, and is it about being quite confident, or is it about gently holding someone's hand and trying to take them through this, or is it about making someone laugh? We try and kind of position ourselves or position our thinking somewhere before it becomes anything other than just words or thoughts on paper. And the other thing that we do not enough of is we try and actively encourage people to leave their computers. If I had my way, everyone would have a laptop here, and maybe we will soon. Everyone would have a laptop here, and there'd be a bank of monitors somewhere, and the rest of the studio would be set up like a cafe, and everyone would just sit and talk and think, maybe look at books, but they wouldn't look at every design blog on the internet, and they wouldn't look on Found all the time, or Design Inspiration, or whatever these sites are. We'd remove ourselves from that. We very often just take ourselves even away from the studio itself. I think getting away and just trying to think about a problem for what it is. We do try and have this kind of culture that it's fun and that it's enjoyable, and that good ideas can come out at any time. They come out when you're on the toilet, they can come out when you're making a cup of tea. The least likely place they're going to happen is when you're sat in front of your computer, or you've been forced into a brainstorm around a table. So we try and make people relax a little bit about that. If they're making tea, no one's wondering why they're making tea. That's how ideas happen, We also have a little bit of an unwritten rule about brainstorms as well, where we don't do those sort of slightly awkward, cold brainstorms. We have briefing sessions where everyone can kind of sit around and ask questions, but we kind of have this unwritten rule that at the first brainstorm, that we have, or the first get together to chat about ideas, everyone comes armed with some thoughts. It gives everyone something to talk about, whereas sort of trying to dredge something up from people sat around in a room often feels fairly unproductive, I think.